If they don't.
We do have breaking news. It appeared that Uncle Shay is most likely finito at ESPN. He put out a statement 28 minutes ago. It says, "My statement is found here, and this is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I'm electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I'll be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues." Shannon Sharpe. Shannon, as I said, I've been there. Days like today, days like 2 days ago, or whenever the allegation hit, I know that all too well. I know I've been giving a lot of commentary on this, but I don't want for any second. I have no problem with Shannon Sharpe. And if anything, I've been telling you, I think that whole line, that's a fact. I don't believe that shit at all. But I ain't gonna lie, she lined him up because there's evidence that people won't contextualize. You know, we all know what happened. Shorty tried to introduce him to some BDSM shit. He finally got down with it, like, all right, cool, all right, that's what we doing. He started using that type of language because that now he feels that's the way to have the dominance over her. And she knew how to selectively clip this, record this, that now makes it seem like this guy's abusive. It'll never be seen in context because we're men. When you hear someone say on a tape, "I might choke you in public," you don't gotta you don't have an opinion in the decision. It doesn't sound good. It'll never sound good. It's the proper lineup. And I think Shannon probably at this point realized only his supporters, his true supporters. And I know what's gonna happen. Shannon's gonna be fine. He's gonna realize all that ESPN, Fox Sports shit, that shit's clipped for him. But this is where, Shannon, let me tell you this. I'm telling you this as a man. Just like, you see, when they try to get rid of me, you know how many times, you know, I relied on, listen, I look at that number right there, and it said we got 12,000 on YouTube, and I look on Rumble, we got 3,000 over there, and I say, damn, I'm 15,000 strong. Rely on your people. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to be fine. But you got to get through this. His supporters are going to have to make a decision, and they're not going to change anything, but they're going to see. You should know his character. You should be able to say, nah, my unk getting lined up. He was stupid, though. He's stupid. Yeah, you know he shouldn't be fucking with no 19-year-old. He's stupid. He a little freaky ass nigga. But he's not a rapist. You see, when you deal with these big companies, they know you're not no rapist neither. But they can't make no stance. And by the way, Shannon, you learning something else that's important. In the last 24 to 48 hours, my man Shannon, you done seen all your colleagues, because they seen the writing on the wall. They all had secret meetings to say, how we going to do this first take shit without him? How we going to do this without him? Hey, what's the exit plan? Look, they had the meetings behind your back. That's why they all came out, and they all have positioned themselves to be in the perfect position that when this happened, because I'll be honest with you, I think ESPN gave you the, yo, you know we fuck with you, but we owned by Disney. They allowed you to announce your departure. If they was going to announce it, it would say that would be a bigger story. And that's how cancellation works. They wait on a decision to be made by a partner that seems punitive. ESPN did you a solid, my brother. They allowed you to announce that you're departing, not they're sending you away. Because the moment they say they're suspending you, as I said, domino effect. Everything else has to fall in line. Every sponsor got to go. But you said you're stepping aside. I bet you won't step aside from Nightcap and Uncle Shay Shay show, or what's it called? The Club Shay Shay. You own those things. You're the proprietor of those things. You won't step aside. And you shouldn't. But ESPN did you a solid. It's basically to say, we're about to fire you, but instead of firing you, we'll let you just resign. You don't got to say you got fired. Trust me. They're a company. You can't blame them. They did you a solid. Here's the thing. This is going to be a permanent scar for Shannon. Trust me, I went through it. You know, they tried to cancel me about like 5-6 times. The last time, everybody thought they had me. Oh, they said, we got him in the vice grip. We got him. Drop the guillotine. He's done. I seen friends start to position their angle to say, well, I ain't coming back. I seen their rhetoric go out, and I looked up. These were people who I had the smoking gun. I work in the media. I'm the biggest of any. I know all of these niggas' secrets. People came to me with the shit to end them. I've always did this. I told y'all all the time. I hit them, yo, this is what they're trying to do to you. Listen, you go handle it, I'm going to fall back. I saw those people when they thought it was done. They all start positioning themselves. Well, I ain't going to lie. Yeah, hack. Like they were all positioning themselves when they said, well, Ack is done. So now we could look like, hey, we stand with the rest of the people. Yeah, Ack is done. After they saw me rose from the fucking ashes, the grave, like the motherfucking Undertaker, I've seen a lot of the rhetoric get a little bit. Oh, shit, you still alive? Oh, yeah, nah, no, you know, he just had to go through that. I've stopped answering a lot of calls since then. It was the best reminder. It wasn't a good experience, but it was the best reminder that in this fucking industry, there really is no friends. Remember, I told you that. So Shannon, you're looking around now. You gotta look at Stephen A. Stephen A. was shucking and jiving, just oh man, we got Uncle Shay Shay here. Oh my God, let's talk about LeBron. As soon as he had a talk with the bosses, he started positioning himself because they gave him the red light. He's done. Remember this moment, Shannon. The ones positioning their side, they might not say, fuck you, but they're positioning, and it'll come with the very subtle things. I do a show with you every day, or not every day, but every couple times a week. I'm talking about Stephen A. when it comes to Shannon. Why are you on air talking about my lawyers is handling this bad and how we do? Why you don't holler at me like that first? The bosses told him what it was. Well, if I'm helping out ESPN claim they love me and they follow me, how's Pat McAfee got Paul Heyman just kicking my back in? The bosses told him it's over. So Shannon, just sit here and remember this. You're going to be fine, my brother. You see with this cancellation shit, they ain't going to cancel you. You got a real fan base. You got a real audience, my nigga. Don't you worry. You might not get another Cat Williams moment, but you'll get other moments. You'll be fine. Fuck these linear platforms. You'll be good. But you got to remember this moment. All the niggas who was shucking and jiving with you. All the niggas that was happy that you were helping them. The moment they got word you were done, it's Game of Thrones. Off of his neck. I don't think Shannon should be surprised, but I think he should be aware of what's happening. This lawsuit doesn't look good. I'll be honest. I understand why he was trying to settle. This woman has him dead to rights. She rocked him to sleep. She has him saying things that, again, he's leaking stuff to the media to give context. Context won't matter. Because only your audience will care about the context. Every now and then when they get mad at me and they'd be like, oh, well, what about this? Remember when we were trying to get him out of here for that? They always bring up a video I did about Tiger when Tiger was dating Kylie Jenner. And I mentioned a story. And I said, and it wasn't even a real story. I said, this is a dynamic. I went to college. This is dynamic. Everyone acts like, yo, that's a 30-year-old act saying that's cool for men to be with 17-year-olds. Someone who doesn't like you doesn't give you context. They won't even go back to the original source. So when that woman put out that text that says, so all they're going to hear is, I'm going to choke the shit out of you. They won't go back to the whole thing where she was sending you pictures of her being choked. She was talking about you getting her a leash. She, like, after she showed you a picture of a woman being hog-tied like a fucking stuffed turkey on Thanksgiving dinner, and you said, I don't know how to do that. She said, oh, we could just use a handcuff. Nobody's going to give you that benefit of the doubt other than your fans. Them casuals who watch ESPN, no, they won't. And every one of your colleagues, they all read that. Here's the thing, too. Stephen A., I fuck with you. But this is why sometimes even some of your closest associates, you got to realize that they're never going to torpedo what they got going on for you. And sometimes you rather take a Ye approach. Like, you know one thing I like what Ye said? Ye said, I don't expect everybody to dick ride and agree with everything I do. But you don't got to denounce me. Shut the fuck up. You don't got to. You can be like, I don't got no comment about this. I got no comment about this. But when your peers and people who the public think are supposed to be your friends, because we don't know who really friends and who we thought Shannon and Skip were friends based on their chemistry. We only found out later they weren't. So when your peers are publicly distancing themselves, speaking out against you, they're kicking your back in. Stephen A. Smith. I remember when Shannon came over there and he was blushing and he was gushing. He was like, "Oh man, we got Shannon. Uncle Shay Shay's here." And really, he wanted to get back at Skip. Talked about how he talked to you all the times off camera and privately while you were going through your saga with Fox Sports. How much he rocks with you, how much you were a real person. Shannon, I know you're going to see this. Think about this. When that woman came out against Jay-Z and Rock Nation, talking about she believes Jay-Z gang raped her with Diddy, Stephen A. Smith vehemently said that woman was not telling the truth and actually defended. Remember that. Defended Jay-Z. But a nigga he do a show with all the time. A nigga who is, yo, that's Uncle Shay Shay. The unmitigated. When it came time for you, he don't like how you handled it. Just remember that. Maybe he just knows Jay-Z better than you. I would probably guess no. Shannon's going to learn an important lesson with this whole thing. As I said, I believe that ESPN did him a solid. They're telling him we're indefinitely suspending you till we conduct and conclude our investigation. And they probably told him, we don't want to fire you, but it's going to take us some time. I think they said, hey, we're going to allow you to say you're stepping aside, but we're going to continue our own investigation. Now, I'm going to be honest, they're going to do him a real solid if they don't put out a statement about it. But I guarantee mainstream outlets are going to hit their PR, hit the PR for ESPN so much that they may have to put out a statement. And I hope in that statement, if they're really doing you a solid, they don't say, we agreed amicably for him to step aside while we conduct our own investigation. Because again, and by the way, they're conducting investigation no matter what. But saying that almost means they're saying, you know the word and how, come on, right? I'm not gonna lie. Shannon, you're gonna realize a few things too. That Cat Williams interview you landed was a gift and a curse. It was a gift and a curse. Now, I'm not here to speak on if you're guilty or innocent of whatever this woman is accusing you of, but I do want you to understand the landscape. There was a lot of your peers that was always kind of feeling like they felt the way. Nigga, you start walking in the building a little bit different after that. If you can't tell, you might be blind, just like Stevie Wonder. Watch how your peers are dealing with you. I know people don't like this guy, but he's actually right about this. Jason Whitlock has done amazing commentary on this. Okay? He's done really amazing commentary. And a lot of his commentary is pointing out how his peers are moving. Okay? Remember, Stephen A. Smith is saying he's considering a presidential run. Listen to this.
When these stories come out at some point this morning, some point before the week's over, ESPN's going to be like, deuces, I'm good.
It already happened.
Seen enough here because Stephen A. Smith publicly questioned the strategy of Shannon Sharpe and his team.
Going on the offensive to defend himself, I completely understand where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X yesterday, and they spoke about, they mentioned her name, and they revealed some of those explicit text messages, that was uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's a strategy that would work.
That was uncomfortable. I don't know if that's a strategy that would work. Let me translate for you. When I was sitting up talking to Dave Roberts and the other executives at ESPN, and we were talking about who to replace Shannon Sharpe with, we was like, man, this is a bad strategy. He overplayed.
I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Shannon Sharpe, I'd be disappointed at Stephen A. Smith, man. Sometimes when it's about your mans, if it is your mans, you either ignore it completely. And yes, the fans are going to call you. And by the way, I take that. Like, if it's sometimes I let y'all know, oh, that's my mans. That's my man. So I'm going to call it bias or whatever, but I'm trying to. Stephen A., which I guess he probably did feel a lot of pressure that he had to give his official stance. But once he said this, it was like, oh man, even he's thinking that Uncle Shay Shay cooked.
That was
yesterday, and they spoke about, they mentioned her name, and they revealed some of those explicit text messages. That was uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's a strategy that would work.
That was uncomfortable. I don't know if that's a strategy that would work. Let me translate for you. When I was sitting up.
Let me tell you this, chat. One thing I know about Stephen A. He's devoted his entire life to this media shit. Stephen A. and Skip, they're kind of two peas in a pod. I've heard both of their interviews. I look up to both. I've heard both of them talk about how much they've sacrificed their personal life, even family life, for their career. Whether it's personal life in terms of having a girlfriend, a wife, kids, or even healthy relationships with either or, because they're this person that is whatever. Don't ever think if they have that demeanor, you're their mans so much that they would ever jeopardize their shit. Fuck no. Now, I'm not saying Stephen A. should have said, yo, I know Shannon. Shannon's my man. This guy, Tony Busby, full of shit. And y'all gonna have to give me more evidence, or I'm gonna wait until this goes to court and everything comes out for me to make up my mind. It ain't take that. He just said, yo, I'm already uncomfortable. You know what that means? Day one, he uncomfortable, which means he's saying, let me out the car. I'm good.
Up talking to Dave Roberts and the other executives at ESPN, and we were talking about who to replace Shannon Sharpe with. We was like, man, this is a bad strategy. He overplayed his hand. He threw gas on a lit fire, and he's provoked her team to start putting out their side of the story. And they seem to be working with Harvey Levin and TMZ. They've taken on a formidable foe, Harvey Levin and TMZ. TMZ Sports, TMZ has been pushing this story hard. TMZ clearly has a connection with Tony Busby. And so the next thing you know, TMZ has a story. Shannon Sharpe accuser confronted him over alleged rape. No means no. And here are the text messages to prove that this happened. Shannon Sharpe's confronted him over the alleged January 2025 sexual assault with a newly released text message.
Let me pause this. We'll get back to it. You know why I wanted to lead in? Like, there's two shows that's killing it right now when it comes to sports. I don't even really watch ESPN like that. Of course, shout out to Nightcap and everything Shannon Sharpe got going on, and Stephen A. But it's Gilbert Arenas' show. And of course, for me personally,